Hello, everyone, and welcome to another version of Sportlight here on Channel 12. I'm your host, Eric Nelson. Thanks for joining us. Today we'll talk about high school sports as we usually do each week here on Sportlight. And the guests on today's show, from left to right, John Martins of the York County Co-Star and John Heffernan from the Portland Press-Herald. And the first bit of business tonight, gentlemen, we had a major upset on Tuesday, or a major upset in my mind, the Biddeford girls knocking off previously undefeated Portland, 35-33. John, I had to look twice at the headline just to make sure, because I had seen Biddeford play Sanford last week, and the Biddeford girls admittedly didn't look all that good against Sanford in a win, and they come back and knock off Portland, probably solidifies a spot in the tournament for them.
Well, I would think it definitely does. That's the heel point king right now, Portland being undefeated late in the season. It's got to be a great win for Bill Harriman and his team, because now they know they can beat anybody going into the tournament. If you can beat the #1 team, hypothetically, you can convince your kids you can beat anybody, and that should do a lot. They won't catch Portland by surprise, not that they did last night. They've usually played Portland, historically played them pretty tough, but I don't think they've come away with many wins out of the whole thing. And I guess the secret last night was they slowed things down in the first half and really played great denial defense, cutting off passing lanes and so forth, and kind of threw Portland off guard. And then the last-second steal gave them the winning basket. And now, you know, they'll get the heel points and on to the tournament.
Yeah, the game, final score of the game was 35-33. Cheryl Saucier came up with a steal and a layup with 4 seconds left in the ball game to give Biddeford that win. Portland did have a chance, I understand, at tying the game in the final seconds of regulation, but the shot was off the mark, and Biddeford claims the victory. So the Tiger girls are now 8-5. They were 8th in the most recent heel point standings, and 9 teams go. You got to feel that that may bump them right up into an automatic quarterfinal berth up in Portland. They may not have to play a prelim just because of that victory, and that was the only defeat for Portland all year long. But in watching some of the scores from girls basketball in the last couple of weeks, Portland almost seemed ripe for the picking. I mean, Lewiston had played them tough. Edward Little had played them tough. Westbrook had played them a good game. Bonnie Eagle played a close game against them very recently. So it almost seemed like eventually someone was going to knock off Portland.
I think what we've seen this week with another game we'll talk about a little bit later, I'm sure, is that there is some sort of psychological pressure of being an undefeated team. We saw a game in Class B as well, the York-Kennebunk game, where it seemed like York was playing with a lot of pressure to stay undefeated. Not only in that game, there's a lot more significance because 1 and 2 berths are on the line, but when you're this late in the season and you're carrying the weight of an undefeated season on your shoulders, I think it's almost beneficial for you to lose a game before the tournament so that you don't carry on that undefeated title into the tournament. Not that any coach would bag one so that they wouldn't have an undefeated season, but I mean, there is a lot of substantial pressure to go undefeated when you get this far into the season.
I think Rick Clark mentioned that afterwards. He said, well, so you're no longer undefeated. And he said, well, we weren't undefeated going into last year's tournament either. And they, of course, came away with the state championship. And I think the point you make is a very good one. I think Portland, it's good for Biddeford because, one, they deserved it and earned it, and it's nice to see. Gives them the heel points. But on the other hand, for Portland now, they can say, okay, let's regroup. Let's realize we are human. I mean, they're also high school kids, and sometimes we forget that, too. We look at the records and forget that these are 16, 17, and 18-year-old kids who aren't going to perform with the consistency of pro athletes.
Yeah, Lewiston, by the way, the Lewiston girls were bumped off by South Portland on Tuesday night. So Portland still stands a very good chance of finishing #1, and they have been the cream of the crop for the girls in Western Maine Class A. They have won 9 of the last 10 Western Maine championships and 6 in a row. So they are still top dog when they get to the Civic Center floor in Portland. They will definitely be the team that needs to get knocked off, or certainly the favorite going into that tournament. As far as Biddeford is concerned, we covered the Tigers last week against Sanford, and you know, I talked to Bill Harriman before the game, and I look back at his record. This is his 15th season as coach. They have only failed to make the playoffs twice. I mean, that is quite a remarkable record. Year in and year out, when the normal ups and downs of high school sports, he still manages to get a team into the tournament virtually every year.
I think he's a very underrated coach because he hasn't had the big championship or the championships or the regional titles to point to. But you're right, his strength is every year he makes teams competitive, and it seems like typically they might have 1 or 2 players that are the marquee players and maybe the go-to players, but he also does an excellent job of making the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players feel a part of the team, and they are a part of the team, and they're a very important part, and he makes them realize that. And I think there's one thing I expect when going into any season with Biddeford, is that those players, after the top 2 players, those players are going to be much better by the end of the season than they are at the start. And that's, really a testimony to his coaching.
Yeah, he's got a nice little mix of youth and experience on this club, too. Bonnie Copengay, one of the senior captains, leads the club. She's second in scoring, I think, in the league. And Cheryl Saucier, who got the winning basket against Portland, is just a sophomore. So he does have a nice blend.
We should also maybe take this opportunity to point out that a former Biddeford player, Heather Briggs, is one of the best that they've ever had. She's gone on to University of Maine, just passed her 1,000th point this week. So he not only coaches well on the high school level, but he's helped, Heather Briggs was a very good player going to the college level, and he helped her make the transition by making her the player that she is, or helping her to become the player that she is.
You read my notes, John. No, Heather was quite a player, and I get a chance to broadcast a number of her games. She had an outstanding career. Unfortunately for her, that Maine team isn't doing all that well this year, but she's having a good season nonetheless.
It's kind of interesting because I think it's a similar situation to her senior year, where they were disappointing as a team, and she also got her 1,000th point in the middle of all
her
that.
High school team was stronger, I think, as a sophomore and junior than it turned out to be on her senior club. But get back to the game that you talked about a moment ago, John. Channel 12 was there in York on Monday evening for what was touted as one of the best high school girl games around going into the game. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out to be that way. It ended up close, but the game itself between York and Kennebunk just didn't live up to its billing. I mean, it was a media horde there. I think we can classify that. 6 newspapers, a television station, yet the game and the teams played like the weather, kind of lousy,
That's stating it very kindly. I think that, all of us were sitting there scratching our heads saying, this is the best that Class B has to offer, and I think what, trying to give the teams more of a benefit of the doubt after going back to the office and writing the story and putting it away, thinking, what I came up with is, it seemed like every player who had the ball thought that every pass they were going to make or every decision they were going to make was directly going to decide the game. I don't think I've ever seen 2 teams play that tensely for so long. And as the end result, we had miscommunications on defense, bad decisions with the basketball, poor shooting. It just went right down the line. I think there were 3 things good that came out of the game. I think for York, they now have more motivation. Kennebunk getting a big win is obviously a huge thing for them in history. And, the only thing on the court that we saw that was really outstanding was the play of Allie Booth in the middle and her blocking of shots. And if Kennebunk can force teams in the tournament to take the outside shot and the teams miss it, then they're going to go very far in the tournament. I think that was pretty evident on Monday night.
I think maybe just the fact that it was Super Bowl week, they just getting used to having something hyped up and then not meeting expectations at all. I think they were just following suit. The other thing I wonder, because I saw the same 2 teams play earlier in the season, and they played a much better game, and you would expect the opposite, because as the season goes along, you would expect players are more comfortable with each other and so forth. But the one thing I do think about, and I don't want to make excuses for them because they don't need me to, but I know especially as a baseball player, days that it would rain during the game and you're wondering, well, am I going to play or aren't we going to play? You tried not to get too psyched up or too geared up because you didn't want to be too disappointed, and you really didn't come into a game mentally prepared. And I wonder if that didn't happen a little bit in this game, because there was a question with Kennebunk having school canceled. I think York also had school canceled that day. There was a question whether they were even going to play the game, but middle of the afternoon it was decided that they would play. And it really, whether that's the cause or not, it really didn't look like those teams were psyched up to play the game. It looked, if anything, they were flat and maybe nervous.
Yeah, I think that's really true. The other thing is, the crowd was flat. I could not believe how, the game was close, albeit played poorly. The crowd never got to be a factor in this game. There was never any chanting, there was never any cheering, and I felt that there was a point midway through the 3rd quarter when York got it to, I think, 5 points, where the crowd really could have swayed that game in York's favor, but the crowd sat on his hands. We were joking at one point in the game that the kid who was banging the drum was hired after the 1st quarter to keep everybody awake until the end of the game. I mean, that's what it seemed like. The gym was dead, and with a game of that type of significance, you would expect that the crowd would be a little bit into it too, but I think people in the crowd, certainly myself, was thinking, how in the heck am I going to get back to Kennebunk tonight, because the roads on the way down were pretty bad, and I'm glad the game was played, because obviously we were all looking forward to it, but the way it was played, I think we probably could have waited until Tuesday night. I don't know.
Despite the weather, though, there was a good-sized crowd there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the only game in town, but you know, the weather didn't seem to hold back a lot.
It was about 3/4 full, I guess, in the gym, and so other coaches took the opportunity because they had the night to come down and do some scouting. So you're right, it was a good crowd, but it certainly wasn't a lively crowd. It almost had the feeling of an exhibition game, or, you know, I don't know what else to compare it to, but it was just a very flat night.
And the only time we got any excitement at all was right at the end when York ran off a basket, got within 5, then Little hit the 3. And at that, you know, when that last minute, both teams turned off the real tight tenseness. Both of them started to scramble and play with a lot of intensity and emotion, and I wish we had seen that in the first quarter.
And in fairness to the crowd, there really wasn't much to cheer. I mean, I don't know much that would have inspired me to be clapping through the first 3/4 of that game anyway.
Yeah, one young lady's performance was outstanding. That was Andrea Little. I thought she played another fine game. She led all scorers with 19, as you mentioned, John, hit the big 3 at the end of the game. You get a chance to see that contest later tonight following Sportlight at 7:30 on Wednesday and Thursday evening, the York and Kennebunk girls. Both of those teams are 16-1. If Kennebunk should beat Marshwood in their final game, that will certainly lock up the #1 spot for the Rams. There is still a chance that they could finish #1 even if they don't beat Marshwood, but if they do beat Marshwood, they definitely will beat #1. York has Trape left on their schedule to finish out the season. We're going to take a break on Sportlight. We'll be back with more high school sports talk right after this.
Babies love being born at York Hospital. All of these babies did. Mothers love it too. At York Hospital, there are no surprises for mother or baby. When you come to the hospital to give birth, there are no strangers taking care of you. No change in shift personnel, people you have never met or seen before. When you have a baby at York Hospital, you're cared for by your nurses, ones who have shared your pregnancy, your delivery, and are there for you after delivery. Your doctor and your nurses, who know you, your concerns, and your desires, will be on hand at this most important time of your life. All of these beautiful babies were born at York Hospital. Why not yours? We invite you to call us and learn more about our unique birthing program, designed to meet the needs and desires of mothers, babies, and the entire family. Why not make York Hospital your hospital? York Hospital, just across the bridge from New Hampshire.
TJ's Pizza and the Biddeford Tigers have one thing in common. They're both #1. From the freshly made homemade dough to the large variety of tasty toppings, TJ's Pizzas are always a winner. And don't forget, their fabulous French fries. One of the best deals in the Biddeford-Saco area is TJ's Family Special, a jumbo cheese pizza, box of fries, and 2-liter Pepsi or Diet Pepsi. Another of TJ's favorite specials is the 10-piece chicken, box of fries, and coleslaw. TJ's will even deliver your food free to a limited delivery area for orders over $5. TJ's Pizza, 366 Elm Street, Biddeford.
Okay, welcome back to more Sportlight. Having some fun during the commercials here. As,
More fun during the commercials than during the show.
yeah,
really.
sometimes.
Did he
I know.
catch you by surprise there, or what?
No. I'm just a little slow with my cold. My reaction time isn't quite as quick as it used to be. Boys basketball. Last night, York avenged their only loss of the season. Beat Kennebunk pretty handily. A couple of big runs in that game, John. They ended up winning by 14.
Yeah, I don't think that that's a real big surprise. First of all, York has been playing better of late, as they usually do toward the tail end of the season. And secondly, I'm sure it was a real big motivating factor for them to get a chance at Kennebunk again after losing to them earlier in the season in a game that they really let get away. The third quarter run, I think, is indicative of that, them not wanting to let Kennebunk be anywhere remotely close, going, I believe, you said 20-5 run in the third quarter. And you know, Kennebunk is a team, I still think that if they can put it together in the tournament, they can give some teams some trouble. But they've been very off and on during the season in terms of putting it together.
Yeah, Ben Nozick had 19 points in the game. 2 other Wildcats, I believe, in double figures, Dave Stanek and Jason Weber. So the Wildcats are 16-1. They close out with Trape, something we were talking about between the break. The final heel point standings for B, C, and D should come out on Monday, and so we'll get to know some tournament pairings. But that Class B tournament, I think especially for the boys, is going to be a very interesting tournament. It looks like York is going to finish first. You've got kind of an unknown in Oak Hill, Mountain Valley, a team that a lot of people down here haven't seen. Then you've got a very good Greeley club, Cape, toss into Kennebunk there. I mean, and Gorham. I mean, you've got half a dozen teams, I think, that are going to be shooting for this thing. I think it's going to be a fun tournament in Augusta.
Yeah, I think if you look at this tournament, it's really, really balanced. And if you can get a team like a Marshwood, who's down on the fringe, get them
team,
in.
yeah.
They're a team that could go in low, that could surprise somebody as well. Yeah, I think that again, for us down here, the real key is how good are the teams from the other division, how good is a Mountain Valley or an Oak Hill. Those are the teams that I'm sure that these coaches are now trying to scramble and get information on. I think that of the teams down here that we've seen, all of them have obviously knocked heads against each other all season. And I don't think that there's anybody out there that the other teams are really intimidated about playing again. And that's, I think, something that you don't see a lot when the tournament starts. I think that I think Kennebunk, even though they got beat by York, wouldn't mind facing them. I think a lot of teams would rather not face them in the first round. But I think that everybody's confident that on any given night they can beat the other.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Oh, I thought you had something on your mind, John. I was just going to let you filter into the conversation. Okay. Stay there. We'll talk about something else. Let's go to Class A. The Sanford Redskins. I know, John, that you want to talk about this because we discussed this before the program, but a big win over Bonnie Eagle. I was looking very forward to seeing that score because I knew it would be a big test for Sanford. Bonnie Eagle had 9 wins. Sanford had beaten them at home earlier in the season. Playing in Buxton is a very difficult gym to play in. A lot of teams have lost there, but Sanford comes up with a close win.
Yeah, I'm almost surprised by it because the fact Sanford did pull out a close game at their own gym, and I thought they were very comparable teams, and Bonnie Eagle would probably have the edge at home, so it's a testimony to Sanford that they were able to win twice. I guess the problem that creates is should they see each other again in the tournament, they have to now beat them a third time, and I'm sure Bonnie Eagle is going to be hungrier, and it's hard to keep the motivation. You know, coaches tell us all the time, beating a team 3 times in a season is a very, very difficult thing to do. And I think there's not a lot of difference between those two teams, but I like Sanford a lot also. I think they play very good team defense. Chris Kumka's done an excellent job leading that team offensively and moving the ball around. And I personally think Sanford's as strong as any team in Western Class A. But like you were saying in the girls, there's also a lot of teams that could bump off many other teams in the course of the tournament.
Yeah, Sanford actually had a 12-point lead in the 4th quarter of that game before Bonnie Eagle came back and made it a 1-point ball game. Chris Kumka had an 18-point second quarter in that game on Tuesday night on his way to 29 points. He is still the leading scorer in the SMAA, averaging 25.5 points per game before Tuesday night's action against Bonnie Eagle, so he continues to pour in the points. But Sanford at 12-2, that should have solidified their number 2 positioning behind South Portland. And even though no one has beaten South Portland, there have been a few teams now that have certainly gotten close to South Portland. Deering lost a heartbreaker in overtime last Friday. A couple other teams have kind of pushed South Portland to the limit. So still, I think just like we had talked about in Class B, in Class A, you've got a lot of teams that are right there. You've got Lewiston, Bonnie Eagle, Sanford, a Westbrook, a Thornton Academy, all these teams, I think, and certainly Morse into that mix also, certainly with a chance to do something in the Civic Center.
The Deering game against South Portland, I've talked to people who were there. Deering had a huge lead and then got very conservative, and they're not, if you know the Deering program, they're not a good team when they have to be conservative. If they have to come back, they're dangerous. If it's an even game, they're dangerous, but if they have a big lead, they really have a notorious history from frittering it away, and that's what they did. They tried to slow it down. They made some stupid passes. The reason I bring all this up is a team like Sanford is very well coached, very disciplined team, and a group of very, I think, intelligent basketball players. If they're given the same opportunity or the same type of lead, I'd be very surprised if they're not able to pull it out and do exactly what Deering was trying to do. So I think South Portland can be beaten, and we've seen it.
So the A tournament a couple of weeks away. The B tournament will be just around the corner. We've got to take a break on Sportlight. We're going to come back and talk a little bit about hockey and then the debacle on Sunday that some people called the Super Bowl. We'll be back right after this.
If you live in York County and want local sports coverage, nobody does it better than the Journal-Tribune. We do more local sports than anyone, and we do it better. The Journal-Tribune is in your community every day with local sports stories. Stories about your family, your friends, your neighbors, and your favorite team. Local sports, nobody does it better than the Journal-Tribune.
At Bonanza, we've turned over 50 million ribeyes, over 40 million T-bones, and over 20 million sirloins. But now we're turning 30. Celebrate Bonanza's 30th birthday with a sirloin filet dinner for just $5.99, including all the soups, salads, breads, and desserts you can eat. But you better hurry, because at $5.99, they're going fast. Bonanza, where turning 30 means a great deal for you.
And welcome back to more of the show. Final segment of Sportlight today. We'll talk about high school hockey. Heel point standings have recently been released through games of January 31st. The Biddeford Tigers have slipped down to 5th position with an 8-4-1 record. Sanford, in their first year of varsity competition, picked up another win. They beat Bon Eagle for the second time this year. They are now 5-7, a very respectable first-year record for Steve Walker's club. So Sanford, obviously no playoffs for them this year, but the Biddeford Tigers still in the hunt. We will be covering one of their games this Saturday at the arena in Biddeford as the Tigers take on Edward Little, a rematch of a very exciting Biddeford win from earlier in the season. And you can see that game next week here on Channel 12. And also we will be at the Ice Arena on Saturday night to cover the York Wildcats game against Brunswick. The Wildcats trying to chase down the number 1 spot in Western B. They were 6 points behind Greeley in the most recent heel point standings at 10-3. Since then, they have won a game. They shut out Chevrolet 4-0 to go to 11-3. But I know, John, the game that you're going to talk about is a game that you were at over the weekend, a close loss to Thornton on Saturday.
Yeah, really one for York that really got away from them. They lost 7-6 in a real goaltenders duel. It was a real tough game for York in the fact that they were in control. They led 4-1 with about 3 minutes left in the first period. Thornton got a quality goal to make it 4-2, and then pretty much a routine wrist shot went in with 4 seconds left to make it 4-3. Let them come back in. York was entirely dead flat in the in the second period, and in the third period they outshot Thornton 22-5, and Thornton matched goals with them. They had an incredible edge in shorts. I believe it was 47-19. Jerry Perrin got the start, did not play his best game in the goal, gave up 7 goals on 19 shots, but also to his defense, York's defense was a little bit flat. The forwards didn't back check as well, but you know, York has had the situation with their goaltenders this year that I think may need to be addressed. Keith Bailey and Jerry Perrin have been sharing time most of the way. Perrin has played well in stretches, so has Bailey. Being a former goalie myself, I always felt that when I was hot, I wanted to play. And Bailey had 4 days of rest before the Thornton Academy game, and yet they stayed with the rotation, which is good in a loyalty aspect, and I can understand the coach wanted to stick with him when the chips were down to show confidence in him since he's only a sophomore. But then again, that was really a big game for York. Thornton was worth some points, could put them into first place, and you know, it's kind of a situation where I think that if I were a hot goalie, I'd want to be in there. And goaltending did play a factor in that game. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Bailey came back and played very well against Chevrolet. Shut him out, as I mentioned, 4-0. And York played well in that game. A decent Chevrolet team that's won, I believe, 8. Quickly, yeah, they've won 8 games. So a team that's won some hockey games, and yet they outshot them, I think, 33-13 or 32-13 in the game. So obviously, they came back and played very well against Chevrolet.
It really was amazing at how well York played in the third period in that game after being so dead flat in the second period in the Thornton game. 22 shots, a good amount of quality shots, just not good accuracy around the middle of the cage. They very easily could have scored 4 or 5 goals, but the way the game went, they'd shoot 5, be really in tight on the Thornton goalie, the puck would get kicked out, Thornton would get a breakaway and score. And emotionally, that just devastated York in terms of winning that hockey game.
Well, they've got some legs. I think they proved that to us, John, in the Yarmouth game when Ken Marchand only skated 2 lines. The Yarmouth coach, Bob Davis, tried to do the same thing and really couldn't match up, and that's where York took over in the third period of that game, scored a couple of big goals and pulled away. This is a team that obviously has got stamina and has played well in the third period of some games.
York is a good skating team. They've got kids like Steve Trenholm, Thomas Kelleher, Jess Knox is a good skater, and the coach's son, Eric Marchand, is a flyer. He can skate incredibly well. And Billy Frappier also on defense is a good skater. That's what's going to come into play, I think, in the tournament. I think there are enough teams out there that don't skate particularly well. Even though they might skate 3 lines, those 3 lines may be average lines. York should be able to, if they can keep the speed up, which they've shown, their second line doesn't get totally worn out in the first 2 periods. If they can keep the speed up, they'll be all right in the third.
Okay, so you get a chance to see some hockey action next week here on Channel 12. If you live in Biddeford, you'll see the Biddeford-Edward Little game on Monday and Tuesday. If you live in York Wells and North Berwick, you will see the York-Brunswick game next Monday and Tuesday at 7:30. Let's get John Heffernan involved in the conversation here and talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, which happened on Sunday. All of us, of course, picked Dallas, and we were so correct as they annihilated Buffalo 52-17. Quite a game.
Yeah, well, my first thought when Buffalo scored the first touchdown was how stupid we were all going to look, because Buffalo, got off on the right foot, but from there it was all Dallas, obviously, and once again, I can only count on one hand the number of Super Bowls. We've now had 27, and only 3, 4, maybe 5 at the most have been entertaining games at all, and almost makes you wonder when the sports fans of America are going to realize that this isn't a good way to plan a good event to plan your week around, because it's going to be over by halftime most of the time.
I have formulated somewhat of a theory on why the most recent Super Bowls have been blowouts, and do you think I'm wrong?
Please share it with us.
All right, all right, I will. I think what happened, now Buffalo had made a few mistakes in the first half, and I think what happened is once Dallas got up by a touchdown, and then up by 2 touchdowns, I think a lot of teams in a game of that magnitude, realizing it's the last game, championship game of the season, I think maybe they start pressing the panic button a little bit. They start to press, they try to do a lot quickly because they realize that there's no tomorrow, therefore they make more mistakes, and they dig themselves even a bigger hole.
Well,
and I think Dallas is the better team. Don't get me wrong there, but I think that Buffalo, if it's a regular season game, maybe Buffalo's a little more conservative, or teams in past Super Bowls don't throw the ball as much in the end, and games aren't as much of a blowout as they have been.
I'm going to shoot down that theory, folks, as I always do when Eric says something as remarkably silly as that. Buffalo goes with the no-huddle offense from the start of the beginning of the game to the start of the beginning. Let's be a little redundant. From the start to the end of the game. So I think in looking at Buffalo, I don't know that you can say that because they're always hurrying. They're always doing things quickly. They're always trying to put points on the board with their offensive theory. I think with Buffalo, however, a good point that you made is this was their 3rd no tomorrow. And I think that when they got down by 2 touchdowns in this particular game, they did press the panic button. And with Jim Kelly, we've seen throughout the course of his career at quarterback, he's a great quarterback when everything's going his way. As soon as he throws 1 interception, he's usually good for 2 or 3. And I think a lot of people looked at this game and said, if Kelly can stay interception-free, Buffalo has a chance. I was counting on him doing what he did in picking Dallas.
Now, if I may, before we run out of time, now I am going to defend you, because I don't think it's the total reason, but I think it is a reason. I think with 2 weeks into this game, and the players just thinking about asking this, and what are you going to do? What are you going to have to do? Do you have to establish a run? Do you have to establish the pass? Is Dallas' quickness going to be too much? I honestly think that the game gets blown totally out of proportion to that of a regular season game. I think Eric's right. If these 2 teams had met during the regular season, it would be 1, 2, maybe 3 touchdown game at the most. The way things go here, things do tend to snowball, and I've seen every Super Bowl that I can remember, except for the very best ones. The team that gets out ahead or is ahead at halftime, things get worse for the team that's behind.
But if you look at this particular Super Bowl, that kind of destroys your theory too, because Dallas comes out, makes a bunch of dumb mistakes. Buffalo scores the first touchdown on a special teams mistake. Dallas makes a stupid penalty in the next drive. Buffalo moves the ball a little bit, then Dallas gets it back.
Okay, fine, but then Buffalo has 4th and goal from the 1-foot line, and they try to pass, and they throw an interception.
Okay, here's the key. If you people remember last week, I said that Dallas would win because Dallas would outcoach Buffalo. That's what happened there. Dallas outcoached Buffalo on that particular call.
Well, yeah, Buffalo. I don't agree with Buffalo passing from the 1-foot line on 4th down. If you can't get 1 foot, then you don't deserve to be Super Bowl champions. And again, Buffalo was the inferior team. I think most people assumed that going in, but they weren't as inferior as the points indicated by the end of the game. And again, I just think anywhere but in the Super Bowl, that's going to be a closer game. I mean, you've got the champion from the AFC. They can't be how many points ever, it was 35 points or whatever it was. That much of a disparity.
I think once it gets to 3 touchdowns, I think Buffalo's concentration level had to be 0, and then Dallas gets a couple more touchdowns that are.
And you've got a backup quarterback in there as well. I mean, you've got I think that what really needs to happen in this debate in the future.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game of the Week tonight from Butler Gym in New York. A big Western Maine Conference showdown for the girls as the Lady Wildcats host the Kennebunk Rams. I'm Eric Nelson along with John Patton. And John, this is a game in girls basketball that a lot of fans have been waiting for. Number 1 and number 2, York and Kennebunk.
You couldn't ask for a better matchup at this point in the season, Eric, particularly since both these teams obviously are going to the tournaments. This is from a coaching standpoint, this is the type of game that you want down the stretch. You want it's going to harden you, win or lose. It's going to be a hard-fought game against real good competition, and that's what you want.
The two teams have played earlier this season back on December 15th. York with an exciting come-from-behind 65-63 victory over Kennebunk in Kennebunk. That's the only loss of the season for the Rams. They're 15-1. York is unblemished at 16-0, and that was quite a comeback for York in that game, John.
Anytime you're up 11 with 3 minutes left, you ought to put a W in the column. But Huck Hansen, the coach of Kennebunk, was a little philosophical, I think. You know, he's a young team, he said. York's got a little more experience. You're looking at a hardened tournament team, a lot of these kids from last year. And I think he looked at it as a learning experience for his kids, and since that time they haven't lost, and they're coming in here tonight hoping to upset the Wildcats.
Yeah, both of these teams have been able to stay focused. As we mentioned, York has not lost all season. Kennebunk has gone on to win 11 straight since that time, and they are led by two outstanding inside players, John. Sophomore Allison Booth and senior Liz Micker is two of the best around.
Yeah, I think from talking to Coach Clark just a few minutes ago, he's going to try to give Booth a little push outside and keep her out there, and hopefully force her to score from outside rather than do the damage inside. As you mentioned, both teams really similar, because you look at York's side and you've got Joanna Brown, Andrea Little underneath, and that's really their strength. So you've got kind of mirror images here, and I think you're going to see both coaches pretty much trying to do the same thing, and that's pressure the guards so that they have a hard time getting it to the money ball players underneath.
That really is York's trademark, and I talked to Rick Clark before the game. He says, we've gone through 16 games of the season. We're certainly not going to change anything now just for this Kennebunk ball club. Again, as you mentioned, John, they're going to try to pressure the guards, and that really, I think, is going to be the key to the game. If Kennebunk can handle the pressure, they'll have success. If they can't, then York may get their 17th win.
Well, that's the thing, and coming down here, it's an away game for Kennebunk, but I think you can throw the court really out the window, because we got two teams, probably the best two teams at this point anyway, and they both want the win, so let's see what happens.
From a coaching standpoint, John, this is a little unusual today. We've had a snowstorm in the area, lousy weather tonight. Both schools canceled today, but we're playing the game tonight. From a coaching standpoint, is that an advantage or disadvantage not to have the girls at school?
Well, considering that both teams didn't have school, I don't know if it's an advantage one way or the other, but from a coaching standpoint, you want your kids in school. You want them to have the same routine that they go through day in and day out in games, and it's definitely a disadvantage, but as I say, where both teams were off today, I don't think it's going to be an advantage one way or the other.
Okay, it ought to be a good one. It's cold outside, but it's going to be hot in here in just a little while. As York and Kennebunk tap it off, John and I will be back with the opening tap in just a moment.
If you live in York County and want local sports coverage, nobody does it better than the Journal-Tribune. We do more local sports than anyone, and we do it better. The Journal-Tribune is in your community every day with local sports stories. Stories about your family, your friends, your neighbors, and your favorite team. Local sports, nobody does it better than the Journal-Tribune.
Basketball, sports stuff. Equipment that's designed for winning. Racquetball, soccer, kicking. You can score all this and more. Sports Stop.
It's the season for sports, and Sports Stop is ready. We carry a large selection of sports equipment and accessories, so you don't have to go from store to store to find what you're looking for.
Here at Sports Stop, we're game for sports. Sports Stop.
Welcome back, everyone, to Butler Gym in York for TCI of Maine Sports Game of the Week. Eric Nelson with John Patton, Steve Twombly on camera, Bob Gould on stats. The whole crew's here tonight.
This could be Game of the Year. I don't know, Game of the Week.
This is true, John. It could be. The JV contest, by the way, was a dandy. Kennebunk won it late, 46-43. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for both of these ball clubs. At the guards for the hometown Wildcats, Jessica Martell and Jonna Weaver. At the center position is Joanna Brown. The forwards are Andrea Little and Molly McDonald. For the Kennebunk Rams, the guards are Karen Harvey and Danny Luia. The center is Liz Mickeriz. Your forwards, Dawn Diffin and Allison Booth. And the two officials for tonight's basketball game, from left to right, Joe Fimple and Dick Draper. All right. Number 1 against number 2, 16-0 York, 15-1 Kennebunk. And the tap controlled by the Wildcats. They'll be wearing the home whites, Kennebunk in the away blues.
That zone the Kennebunk's in now, where it's going to try to force York outside.
Well, Andrea Little with the game's first points.
And that's how to beat it. Move the ball, 2-3 quick passes, and hit that jump shot.
Booth with the basketball over to Harvey. Penetrates inside, kept alive and picked up by Weaver, and she draws the game's first foul.
She might have got away with one about 10 seconds before that, too, with the elbow.
Personal foul, call number 10, Karen Harvey.
That'll go against Karen Harvey.
Wildcat ball.
And 40 seconds into this one, York will put it in play. Andrea Little with the big game last time against Kennebunk.
Incidental contact.
Brown into
nice
McDonald,
pass.
blocked by Booth.
That's where York wants it, though, Eric, right down underneath.
Harvey running the point. Now they go into Mickeriz. Tries to go over Brown. Gets the rebound back and draws the foul.
Didn't really square up on either shot either, Eric. Just kind of threw it up there.
Personal foul, call number 21, Jonna Weaver, her first.
Foul is against Jonna Weaver.
Mickeriz.
Mickeriz, one of the premier players in the Western Maine Conference, averaging over 20 points a game.
Plenty of arc on that foul shot, huh?
Yeah, helped her out that time.
Boy, that's...
Second one did not hit the rim, so York will have possession of the ball. Mickeriz had a big 28 points in the first meeting between these two clubs. Rick Clark going to try to control her a little more tonight.
Yeah, he told me he's going to give her points. He just doesn't want her to totally dominate the game, and he feels if he can keep her down somewhat and force Booth outside a little bit, then he'll have some success here.
Martell with the basketball. Harvey knocks it away. A minute and a half into this one, 2-1 in favor of York.
Really got to protect the basketball against these two Kennebunk guards. They have to reach.
And a foul on Mickeriz in the paint. Certainly, both of these ball clubs will go 8, maybe 9 deep, John, but if the big girls get in foul trouble, if a Mickeriz or a Little gets in foul trouble, then that hurts.
That's right. They're the money ball players. Usually, though, in a game like this, year in and year out, it's the non-money ball players that make the difference. It's someone that comes off the bench or usually doesn't score a lot that ends up being a real key in the game.
Now, you figure the big girls are going to get their points. They're going to put numbers on the boards.
Right.
It's those people who are in the other roles as Andrea Little hits the basket.
Little with her second hoop.
It's the supporting cast that's going to be important. It's a steal. Little.
That's Clark trademark right there, that pressure.
And Booth is fouled on the rebound.
Get Little with the foul that time, or?
Martell, I believe.
Martell.
Your foul, number 12, Jessica Martell.
That's
her
the one.
first, 8 seconds.
And that is her first. And a quick substitution for Harold Hansen's ball club.
Kristen Berube.
We see Kristen Berube, number 14, a sophomore, has come in for the Rams.
Yeah, that's what struck me, Eric. Ooh, lucky there. Struck me about prepping for this game is how young both of these teams are.
Just one senior on the roster tonight for Kennebunk. That's Mickeriz. Outlet pass.
Nice outlet.
And McDonald tried to run with it before she got it.
A couple Buffalo Bills receivers did that yesterday. A few times.
Mickeriz. Quick turnaround. Rebound.
Oh,
Shot
nice
put
job.
back in by Barabee. So Kennebunk doing the job on the boards, makes it 4-3 York. Oh, McDonald is blocked by Booth.
Just a sophomore.
And she can handle the ball, John, as we're seeing right now.
Should have passed it, that's all. She had a couple of girls ahead of her. Should have made that pass, but
She is, as some people call her, the automatic press break. Or one-man press
she's
break.
going to alter a few layups tonight, I think.
They go down into Booth. Over Brown, it's a little strong.
Nice
Rebound
pass.
back to Kennebunk. Here's Mickeriz. Yes.
So far, Eric, Kennebunk's getting it where they want the ball, and that's down low. That's exactly the opposite of what where York wants it.
Kennebunk with their first lead, John, 5-4 with just under 5 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, Mickeriz has had, what, 4 shots in the paint already.
Kennebunk in a 2-1-2. Brown from the baseline.
Good position that time.
McDonald, a nice job keeping it alive.
Nice box out by McDonald underneath.
Brown travels.
You know, if I'm Kennebunk, that's where I want Duana Brown shooting from. Keeps her out from under that basket, where she's really a threat to get a rebound and put it back up again.
Harvey.
Oh,
double team.
Gives
it up to Barabee, yeah. Barabee in trouble back out to the point.
Oh, nice job.
Nice look up ahead to Martell and missed the layup. Kennebunk thought it might have been traveling too, John. Diffin, an air ball. Booth's there for the rebound, and she traveled.
Traveling violation on the range, ball number 1 out.
Sheer size that time, Eric. She just reached up there and pulled that one right out of the air. York's going to have to box Booth out.
Both teams applying full court pressure. We're halfway through the first quarter. 5-4 Kennebunk.
Looks like both teams came in here with pretty similar game plans. We talked about that off the top. Nice shot.
Andrea Little. She has all 6 of York's points.
She's all their offense so far. Nice job of breaking the press.
Harvey off the glass. It'll be Kennebunk ball.
Boy, York dodged a bullet there, too. It's lucky she was on the line. She threw it right back to a Kennebunk player. Easy layup.
Quick turnover. Little again up toward Martell. Little gets it knocked away, picks it back up. Wheels to the basket. Stay York
Booth
ball.
got a piece of it.
McDonald from the free throw line. She had a good game against Marshwood a couple games back. Mickeriz again. Little the rebound.
All she's got to do really is put it to the floor once and go right to the hoop with it. She's just throwing it up
Not squaring up, John.
Not at all. Maybe a little intimidated by Brown under there. I'm sure she's not used to playing someone her size. Nice rebound there.
Little on the miss. Booth
wide open down.
There's Harvey wide open. Nice play by Weaver.
Yeah, they missed it though. She was down there, just standing there about 3 seconds. That's the second one that Booth has missed. She's got to learn to look up court.
2:20 left in the quarter. 8-5 York. Here's Mickeriz again.
And again, she doesn't square.
McDonald, the outlet up to Weaver. Missed the layup. York's missed a couple layups here in the first quarter.
Nice pass.
Mickeres picks up the loose ball. Brown with the strong rebound. Been a pretty quick pace here in the first quarter, John.
Yeah, it has been. You know, as I say, if Kennebunk had looked up on a couple of those breaks, they would have had the layups. York's been running.
Martell's
There's another one out. There's the outlet. There she is. That's all it is right there. Couldn't handle the pass, but it was there.
York ball passed a little bit behind Barabee, and we get a substitution for York, and that will be 5'4" senior Samantha Demaray, number 24. She will give Andrea Little a breather.
Yeah, I don't think Andrea's going to be on the bench too long.
So the Wildcats turn it over. 1:17 left in the first quarter. The team that wins tonight will most likely claim the #1 seed in the tournament. One regular season game left for both of these clubs. There's a turnover.
Good ball movement.
And again, Booth's presence.
That's right.
Causing them to change.
Exactly what it was, Eric.
And she grabs the rebound.
There's the outlet.
Boy, Kennebunk is very willing to run, John. They're pushing the ball up the court.
Nice pass.
Harvey into Mickeres.
Mickeres is not having a career night so far.
She's had plenty of shot opportunities.
Getting the ball where she wants it, too.
York holding on to a 3-point lead, 8-5. 35 seconds left in the first quarter. Weaver, short, rebounded by Brown. York ball.
Yeah, these Kennebunk guards are after that ball. They're ball hawking club. Got to be real careful with that basketball if you're out front with the Wildcats.
Luia has come back in for Kennebunk. 15 seconds left.
Looks like York may be playing for the last one here.
Down to 6. Swinging around from McDonald. She's blocked. And we've got a foul. So it's just 2 seconds left.
And I believe that's the... No, first. I was going to say the second one on McDonald, but it isn't.
The foul call on number 11, Molly McDonald, her first, team's third.
First on her, third on the team. 2 seconds left in the quarter. Booth gave it a ride.
Good.
But not enough. And we've played 8 minutes of basketball here from Butler Gym in York, and on the Star Mountain Motor scoreboard, it's York leading Kennebunk 8-5.
Banking at the ocean, banking at the ocean. For more than 135 years, Ocean National Bank has been an independent community bank, committed to preserving the quality of life in York County. That's why money deposited in Ocean National is invested with local York County families and businesses. If you want to invest in your community, bank with Ocean National. Banking at the ocean, banking at the ocean.
Dave's IGA, York Village Shopping Center in York, is hometown proud. Proud to be serving their friends and neighbors the most delicious selection of fresh food items available. And to make sure you're getting the best value for your dollar, pick up Dave's IGA Super Savings Circular. The circular is available at the store every Monday morning and can be found in the York Weekly. So stop by Dave's IGA for all the great specials you've come to expect. Open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Dave's IGA, hometown proud.
Welcome back to Butler Gym and TCI of Maine Sports Game of the Week. Eric Nelson with John Patton. 8-5, York leading Kennebunk after the first quarter. Rebounds, fairly even in the first quarter, John. Kennebunk with 9, York with 7. Shooting, Kennebunk was just 2 for 14 from the field. York 4 for 11, Kennebunk 7 turnovers, York 3. Those are unofficial stats from Bob Gould. Really, we mentioned though, Mickeres has had the ball down low, which is exactly where you wanted to have the basketball, but she hasn't converted.
Yeah, if I'm Kennebunk, I'm pleased. To this point, it's too bad to be down 3, but you get the ball where you want it. she just hasn't hit her shots, and also a couple times they had breaks and they didn't take advantage of them. They didn't look up. York's got to do something to stop that break.
You shoot 2 for 14 and commit 7 turnovers. You're only down by 3, like you said.
Got to be happy with that.
Kennebunk will have the ball to start the second quarter.
York out man-to-man. That's, again, he's trying to keep that ball from getting into the paint.
Pretty aggressive man-to-man. Booth, the quick turnaround. Brown clears the backboard.
That, I think, is probably the type of shot that Rick Clark, Kennebunk's going to take one. That's the one he wants him to take. Really collapsing on that pass down at the bucket. See, I think Booth's going out a little far. If I'm Hanson, I want her underneath.
Martell shot is rebounded by Diffin. Still, it's going to be difficult for York with those 2 big girls inside to try to get the ball inside.
I'm surprised Kennebunk doesn't have any kind of a pattern fast break at all. You know, as far as hitting the outlet, getting to the middle, and going with it. They look a little confused under there, so you get a rebound and just looking around. Especially with the size they've got at this point in the season, you think that would be automatic.
Shannon Mankin is coming to the game.
Nice shot.
Harvey hits the shot.
First hoop tonight.
8-7 York. Nice press break. Demaray to Brown. High off the glass. Had to alter a shot, John.
Nice rebound there, too. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's just double teaming the ball, and he's got Booth back there, your 6'3" girl. Nice board.
Booth, the offensive rebound. Gets it again. Boy, Kennebunk is stone cold from the field, John. They're about 3 for 20 now.
You just got to settle down a little bit. It's a big game. These girls know it. You know, we didn't mention that off the top, but these kids know each other. They've been reading the papers. There's an unforced mistake right there. Luckily, they got it back.
Well, it could mean who finishes first. These 2 teams are 1 and 2 by leaps and bounds above the other teams as far as the heel points are concerned.
But it looks tonight pretty closely matched, too, based on that last game and what we've seen thus far.
Brown short.
Oh, there it is.
Micker is up to Luia.
Nice pass.
This bounce into Harvey. He's blocked by Little.
Yeah, Little did a nice job of hustling back on defense that time.
Rick Clark wants to see a few passes here, John, and trying to get his team into some type of flow.
Right.
Little. Brown, big offensive rebound, and she draws the foul.
Red Booth for that one. That was a close one, too.
Personal foul on number 31, Allison Booth, her first. At the line to shoot 2, Joe.
Not a whole lot of contact there.
Both teams with 3 team fouls. And Joanna Brown at the line. Brown averaging 14.5 points a game, had 17 last time the teams met. Got them both. As a team, they only shoot 50% from the line, John.
Yeah, I know that's something Rick would like to improve on, especially before mid-February.
10-7 is our score. York leading by 3. 5.5 minutes left in the first half. McDonald in for the Wildcats.
You might want to watch this out-of-bounds play, Eric. I notice Allison Booth is at the foul line. I'm sure you're going to want her down low. Here it is right here. Doesn't open up for him, but I didn't think she was going to get the ball up there.
And Harold Hansen throws a towel down to the floor.
Well, his team's played sloppy. For this point of the season, a big game like this, they're real sloppy. They've had the shots that they wanted in the spots they wanted, and
Loose ball. Here's Luia. Dumps it for Mikarez. Missed the layup. She's just struggling tonight. Martell to Weaver, and she gets fouled.
Luia, I think.
Foul call number 11.
Little push.
Danny Luia at the line to shoot two. John Weaver.
Neither team is lighting up the scoreboard.
Lighting them up, no.
13, Leanne Mai into the Kennebunk lineup.
Leanne Mai, number 13, in for Kennebunk. She's a junior. And Jonna Weaver at the free throw line. Andrea Johansson into the ballgame for York.
Jessica Martell.
Weaver at the line, averaging about 7 points a game.
And she plays her role well. She, you know, she feeds the Pika girls underneath and plays some pretty good defense.
That's going to be nerve-wracking, John. There was not a noise in this gym on both of those free throws. I think the crowd has really yet to get into this one.
Well, it's a little, let's just say it hasn't lived up to its billing yet. And that happens sometimes. You know, you see it. You know, you look at the Super Bowl yesterday. That's a good example. A
prime example of that.
All that hype and nice pass.
Oh, Weaver knocks it away. And you've got three different newspaper people here. You've got us here, and then there are many coaches. People expecting a good one here. Booth.
Well, that was a nice job there. Put it to the floor.
Her first basket. 10-9 York.
Nice pass. Oh, nice. Tough break there. York did a nice ball move.
Little with a big hustle. Oh, nice dish into McDonald. And he's fouled by Booth. Boy,
got Mankin for that, didn't they? Was that?
Personal foul call number 15.
Nope. I was going to say, I was making okay.
At the line to shoot two, Molly McDonald.
Sure, if Huck Hansen was going to pick the player to call that foul on, it wouldn't have been Booth.
Really a nice pass.
Excellent.
By Brown, down to Little, and then a good hustle by Andrea after she missed the layup.
I think that's Andrea Little's biggest asset. I have been watching it for 3 years now. She's just playing aggressive. She doesn't give up on the ball. She's got some good skills. She's a good ball player, no question, but she'll give you 100%.
Mai, and then it'll go to York. 4:18 left in the half, 12-9 York. That's right, it's time left in the half, not the first quarter.
York's still looking for a field goal here this quarter.
That's right, they have 4 free throws, that's it. Johansson to McDonald. Brown from outside.
There's the outlet. Got to go to the middle. No.
Good pressure by Weaver. Mai dribbles out of it. Booth is blocked.
Did the right thing, though. Took it to the basket. I don't know about the call. Some of the fans don't like it, but.
Foul call to number 32, Joanna Brown, her first.
Give Allison Booth some credit. That was the right thing to do with the ball. I'm real impressed with this girl. She's not not scorching the net yet, but she does a lot of good things out there.
6 foot 3 inch sophomore. I believe played on an AAU team during the summer, John, that had quite a bit of success. Martell in for Weaver.
Yeah, she looks like she's played some. A sophomore, I'll tell you. Oh.
And first down and 10 here.
That'll give you an idea what this game means to these girls.
It will go to Kennebunk. York up by 2 midway through the second quarter.
Should see a different out-of-bounds play here. A different set, anyway.
Now they've got Mickeris up top. Harvey, the runner, rebounded by Brown. Kennebunk continues to shoot poorly here in the first half. So this Kennebunk defense is making York work, John. Is McDonald.
It hasn't been anything easy for York tonight. So Allison Booth's going to play point guard now.
Mickeris.
That's the first time she's squared up to the hoop.
Oh, that ball rolled in and out.
I think Kennebunk's going to be pleased to change baskets at halftime.
This one hasn't been kind to them.
No.
Joanna Brown, her second.
Second foul on Brown. Both teams with 5.
Yeah, that's something that's got to concern Rick Clark, too. I'm sure he doesn't want her to pick up her third.
Boy, Booth, just a lack of concentration there. Allison Booth had 14 earlier this year against Kennebunk, against York. Misses them both. Andrea Little the rebound. Martell. 3:10 left in the half. York up by 2. Stolen by Mickeris.
I thought they had a break there, too, Eric. Kennebunk just doesn't seem to look up court.
Booth. Rebound by Brown.
Oh, there we go.
Steal by
I mentioned that before. These Kennebunk guards. Good call. Good call. She left the backcourt, came down the front court. A lot of fans don't know that.
You've got to be in the front court with your feet before you touch the ball. You can't catch the ball in the air.
Right. She's technically still in the backcourt.
Little off the back of the iron.
Joanna Brown's got to be careful.
Letting him play. Harvey up to Mickeris.
I'll tell you, that's been there all night, Eric.
We're tied. Mickeris a steal. Kennebunk for the lead. Rick Clark yelling for a timeout. You can't hear it over the screaming here in the gym. He doesn't get the timeout.
Nice pass. Mickeris starting to assert herself a little bit out there on both ends of the court that time. A couple of steal down here for a hoop. Hustle back on defense and got a steal.
We'll take a break with 2 minutes remaining here in the first half. Kennebunk with a 14-12 lead.
Babies love being born at York Hospital. All of these babies did. Mothers love it too. At York Hospital, there are no surprises for mother or baby. When you come to the hospital to give birth, there are no strangers taking care of you. No change in shift personnel, people you have never met or seen before. When you have a baby at York Hospital, you're cared for by your nurses, ones who have shared your pregnancy, your delivery, and are there for you after delivery. Your doctor and your nurses, who know you, your concerns, and your desires, will be on hand at this most important time of your life. All of these beautiful babies were born at York Hospital. Why not yours? We invite you to call us and learn more about our unique birthing program, designed to meet the needs and desires of mothers, babies, and the entire family. Why not make York Hospital your hospital? York Hospital, just across the bridge from New Hampshire.
Welcome back to Butler Gym in York. Harold Hansen's Kennebunk Club, off a couple of quick hoops by Liz Mickeris, have a 14-12 lead. Really, if they concentrate on the transition game, John, Kennebunk could have a lot more points.
Well, it's been there. I'm sure Rick Clark, if he didn't mention it during that timeout, he's going to have some things to say about the halftime, because as you said, Kennebunk's just not taking advantage of it. It is there. They should have another 6 or 8 points anyway.
Tiffany Chapman, number 23, is checked into the York lineup. A 5'3" freshman, number 23.
Yeah, this Tiffany Chapman's going to be a player.
Well, not too many freshmen make it up to Rick
Yeah,
Clark's
that's right.
varsity.
That's what I was thinking. If you could play for Rick Clark as a freshman.
Runs
nice
it down.
Play.
Goes behind the back.
Tough break there. She made a nice save.
Nice save by Chapman. Boy, Kennebunk is really making York work.
Kennebunk's doing to York what York's done to a lot of teams. They're pressuring with their guards and letting the big people do the damage underneath.
Chapman is rejected by Booth.
Well, again, we mentioned she's a freshman. You got to learn. There's a 6'3" girl on the floor. You got to know where she is.
And you give up a foot.
That's right.
That's tough. 1:25 left in the half. Oh, nice move by Brown. Gets it back. Foul before the shot.
Mankin.
Personal foul call number 15. Shannon Mankin, her second.
It's her second.
Team 6.
Neither team with the bonus yet. That is team foul number 6.
For York, number 20, Andrea Little.
Little back in for York.
Next is Sam Demery. For Kennebunk, number 30, Don Dickett.
I'll tell you, Eric, for a storm night with no school today, this place is pretty well packed. I'm sure there's a lot of people who didn't even know the game was going to be held tonight.
Yes. Martell.
Nice out of bounds play.
We're tied at 14. 1:05 left in the half. Micker hits it.
Well, you know, she didn't square up that time either, and that one went in, so I'm sure that's, you know, we
the
haven't
way
seen
she does
this
it.
girl, that's right.
That's 9 in the first half for Micker.
Yeah, her game, she's starting to put it together now. You had to know a senior with her reputation.
McDonald off the glass.
McDonald with a bank shot.
Tied again. Less than 30 left in the half. Booth banks it in. 5 for Booth.
It's all in this quarter. Both Booth and Micker is doing real damage here.
10 seconds left, John. Little. It's tripped.
Personal foul number 13, Leanne Mine, her first.
Well, Kennebunk's done a nice job of spreading out their fouls. Very nice job.
York will be shooting in the bonus. That is the 7th team foul. Andrea Little averaging 14.5 points a game, 11.6 rebounds.
And the wrong player to put on the line with 7 seconds left in the half.
She is best free throw shooter on the team. 5 seconds left. Mai lost it in the paint.
Oh, big
and a foul
right there.
That's a big foul right before the half.
Not a smart foul from your senior. That's her second.
Especially with 1 second left. The opposing team is 70 feet from their basket.
Puts them in at the line. That was a big one.
Micker is the second foul. Could hurt Kennebunk in a couple of ways, especially if McDonald can convert. Oh, no time for a rebound. That was a quick second. And we're tied at 18. And John and I will be back in just a moment with our halftime statistics, taking a look at the Star Mountain Motor scoreboard. As I mentioned, we're deadlocked, 18-18. We'll be back in just a moment.
seeing your future in an exotic place.
Where?
The most delicious food, finest wine, happy, friendly people all around you.
Please, tell us, where are we going?
Your every whim indulged.
Wait a minute.
That sounds like Litchfield. Hey, stop peeking in my crystal ball.
It's clear. Litchfields, Route 1, Wells.
Joanne's Gardens, Route 9 in Wells, is your full-service florist. Joanne's has a large variety of green and flowering houseplants, along with a large selection of cut flowers. With 28 years in the business, the Farley family has always provided the personal touch, from fruit baskets, balloons, and stuffed animals to custom-ordered silk-dried or fresh flower arrangements. No matter what the season, Joanne's Gardens has all the items needed to brighten your day or someone else's. Located across from the Maryland Ridge Restaurant on Route 9 in Wells, Joanne's Gardens, where your satisfaction is guaranteed.
Welcome back to Butler Gym in York on the TCI of Maine Sports Game of the Week. Eric Nelson with John Patton at halftime. It's 18-18. Not an artistic success in the first half of play. Really, John, I thought both of these ball clubs would play a little better at this point in the season.
Yeah, particularly as we said, both teams going up to Augusta here. I'm sure both coaches want better performances than they saw. Although Kennebunk started to come on a little bit towards the end of that second quarter, I think. Booth and Micker has really got their games going. So, I think what York's got to do is just take care of the basketball a little bit more and maybe work the ball a little bit for their offense. They seem to be taking quick shots more so than usual for this club. And the real tough thing though is going to be to eliminate that intimidation factor, because Booth under that 6'3" girl is really altering a lot of shots, and I just think they've got to protect the basketball a little bit and take better shots.
Okay, let's take a look at the numbers from the first half of play. Neither team shot well, which is what we suspected. Kennebunk 7 for 31 for 22%.
It's an understatement.
York 6 for 23 for 26%. So combined, they're 13 for 54 in the first half between the two of them. Free throw shooting, not a whole lot better. York is 6 for 9. That has been a strong point. Kennebunk 2 for 6. Kennebunk out-rebounded York 21-15. They also had more turnovers, 11-8. Scoring in the first half, Liz Mickeriz led all scorers with 9, Booth with 5. Little and McDonald led York. Foul trouble, Mickeriz and Mankin with 2, Brown with 2. 3 other players with 1 for York. We're about ready to start second half. We're going to have to take a break and be right back. Our score at halftime, we're tied at 18.
Day in and day out, all through life, having the right partner can help. If you're looking for the right banking partner for your life, come to Mid-Maine Savings Bank in Sanford. Mid-Maine is a sound bank with a hometown touch, and we'd like to be a partner in your future.
Mid-Maine Savings Bank, we're partners in your future.
209 Main Street, Sanford, and Route 109 South Sanford. Member FDIC.
Come on, let the good times roll at Bowlerama. 20 lanes of candlepin bowling for all ages. Bowlerama has men's, women's, mixed, and junior leagues. Every Friday evening, it's Rock and Roll Bowl, where strikes turn into instant cash. Come on, let the good times roll. Plan your next party at Bowlerama. The transportation's on us.
Welcome back to Butler Gym. Start of the second half. Martell, Weaver, Little, Brown, and McDonald for York. And for Kennebunk, it is Luia, Harvey, Diffin, Mickeriz, and Booth, the starting 5 on the court for both ball clubs.
Real important, I think, the next 3 minutes, too. I do these broadcasts, same thing every time, but I think this...
But you're usually right, John, so
well,
it's okay.
I don't know about usually. On occasion, maybe. But I just think these three minutes right after the half are so important, particularly in a big game like this, which is real close. You know, you can establish something here.
And a little call for traveling.
See if Kennebunk this half, Eric, uses some of the weapons that they really had in that first half, and that, namely that break, the fast break.
Micker is a quick turnaround. Loose ball to Brown.
Got her in the offense a little bit in that second quarter.
Micker is rebound.
There it is. That's what I was talking about right there.
Oh, Harvey, nice pass to Luia.
That's the one. Tell you, with the size they've got under there, Eric, they could do that all night long.
2-point Kennebunk lead, minute into the third quarter.
How did Brown come out with
I
that
don't know
one?
how she came up with it. Kennebunk again, trying to run. Brown picks it up under the basket.
Credit that miss to Booth. She's,
oh, and it is physical.
And that could be Brown's third.
And it is.
Personal foul call at number 32, Joanna Brown, her third. 8 quarters to the second half. Kennebunk ball.
That definitely hurts York if Brown has to go to the bench. Well, Kennebunk easily breaking the pressure.
Nice pass.
Micker is for 2.
Basketball, Micker is.
Boy, it's nice when you can put that press on and then have a 6'3" girl sitting back there in the paint. If you do get beat, she's there to contest the shot. Nice pass.
Brown draws the foul.
Only her 4th point. There's no question the Wildcats are going to take this one tonight. Joanna Brown's got to get into the offense.
Basket counts. Joanna Brown will shoot 1 for York.
That was a big hoop. Kennebunk on a little bit of a run there. A little momentum switch, maybe.
It took York a couple of minutes to get on the board here in the second half. 3-point play for junior center Joanna Brown. 22-21 Kennebunk. 2 minutes into the second half. A nice knockaway by Brown.
Would have been a good place for a bounce pass there.
Martell, quick hands.
God, Allison Booth playing outside an awful lot on that out-of-bounds play. She went to the corner. I'll tell you, if I got a 6'3" girl, I want her right in that paint.
Lob it into her. Harvey. Rebound to Diffin.
Oh, nice play.
Luia knocked it off Martell.
Boy, in a game like this, it's the little things that are going to pay off.
Block. Weaver, the block. Foul go against Kennebunk. Be Diffin's second.
Personal foul call by Kennebunk. Number 30, Dawn Diffin, her second.
Well, I had Diffin for 1, so I'm glad you're keeping the book too. I'll tell you.
That's where we can double check each other, John.
My problem is I end up watching the game. Forget I'm working.
My problem is some people say I don't watch the game, right? Here's Weaver.
And again, pass to that guard up front.
Luia for 2.
That's good by Danny Luia.
Second hoop this quarter.
24-21, 3-point Kennebunk lead as they get the ball back. Micker is.
Oh, Micker is really coming on now.
13 for Micker.
First 3 or 4 shots she took, Eric, because I haven't seen the girl more than once or twice. And, you know, we're going to wonder where her reputation came from, but she's getting it together now. Bad shot. She's got to look up the floor. It's 3-on-2.
It's Kennebunk's biggest lead, 5 points. Diffin makes it 7.
Good spot for a timeout.
Rick Clark will call it with 4:25 left in the third quarter. Kennebunk leads by 7, 28-21.
You've seen Ken Plord at Biddeford football games for years. Now you can see Ken at his California paint store, York County Paint and Supply.
This is what I've got on my own house, and it's been on my own house for almost 9 years now. I've had California strictly on my house. They put their reputation in the can, and once you're a California dealer, you don't want to be anything else.
We guarantee you'll be back, not only for the paint, but for Ken Plord's expert service. York County Paint and Supply, 418 Elm Street, Biddeford.
Generally, when I've got a customer, they come back.
If you have been subjected to whiplash injury, contact the Merrill Clinic of Chiropractic, Route 1 in Wells. Dr. Merrill and his staff are trained to detect and correct these problems and restore the neck to normal function. It is not unusual for whiplash symptoms to occur days or even weeks after an injury. So visit the Merrill Clinic of Chiropractic today.
Back at Butler Gym on Game of the Week, York finds themselves down by 7. Boy, this scenario that was played out in December, John, where they were down by 11 in the fourth quarter.
Very similar to that game, which saw York come back. I think Rick Clark, talking to him earlier, he said he felt Kennebunk went celebrating a little too early in that game. He called a timeout with 3 minutes left, down 11, and he looked over and he said the Kennebunk girls are all cheering and yelling, and he said at that point he knew that they might have a chance of coming back, which is just what they did. They ended up winning it.
4:06 left in the third quarter. It's a 7-point Kennebunk lead.
Oh, nice try. Nice try.
That's what you got to do, Johnny.
Yep, hit Booth up
get her
the
up.
air, right.
Pass,
Dump it
pass
into
around
Brown.
her. Make a nice little bounce pass. Should have Brown free. Martell into Brown.
Ooh.
Blocked.
There it is. Nice play. That's, I'll tell you, Eric. Got to use that backboard.
Boy, they've had 3 shots at it. It'll be Kennebunk ball. They ran it well, Louis.
That's the way basketball should be played right there. Bing, bing, and boom.
24 for York, Samantha Demeray replaces Jonna Weaver.
Demeray in for Weaver. Booth. Rebound McDonald, strong board.
Booth gets that little paint shot down. It's just a sophomore. I don't know who's going to stop her.
Little. Blocked. Now, Mickers and Booth have a handful of blocks here. Nice recovery by York. Still a 7-point Ram lead. Little. Nice move. Brown picks up the loose ball.
Yeah, I thought better with that shot.
Martell, no.
There's a outlet.
Oh, nice touch pass. But
Kennebunk's got it's nice to outlet the ball and get up floor in a hurry, but you got to hit the shot.
I think sometimes York is getting kind of caught up after Kennebunk fast breaking at the other end. York kind of gets caught in that pace a little bit.
I've seen York play better basketball than this. I don't think Rick Clark's too happy at this point.
But it's still a 7-point lead, though it easily could be 11.
Right.
Kennebunk's had 2 great chances on fast breaks. 2:45 is our time left in the third quarter. Micker is too
Kennebunk's getting the ball too easily down on that baseline, too.
She's just as hot now as she was cold in the first quarter.
Yeah, they're starting to fall, and she's still not squaring up. She's still shooting the same way, so I guess
that's her game.
9-point lead, 30-21.
Nice job.
And a foul on Mikariz.
Her third. At least I've got it for 3. That doesn't mean a whole lot, though.
Nope, I've got it for 3.
You got it for 3. That
Match on that
there
one.
we go.
Her third. Team third.
So her and Joanna Brown, both with 3 fouls.
And Huck Hansen with a warning from the official to sit down. Relax. They've still got 2 minutes left in this third. I'm sure they don't want to lose her.
That's a big foul.
That's number 4 on Joanna Brown.
Big foul.
Personal foul on number 32, Joanna Brown, her fourth. 8 seconds.
4 fouls on Joanna Brown, and for the first time in the game we see Kathleen Byrne, a 5'9" senior. And she's probably going to sit for a while, John, with over 2 minutes left in the quarter.
Yeah, I can't see bringing her in unless it really gets out of hand.
Mankin. Going to reach in foul, I think, against Kennebunk.
That foul call on number 10, Karen Harvey, her second.
Harvey's second.
Team fourth. Wildcat ball.
York has scored just 3 points here in the third quarter. That was on a 3-point play by Brown. And Harvey another quick foul, so that's 3 on Harvey.
Yeah, foul's starting to play a little key role here. Some key players with some key fouls here.
Now, Harold Hansen was listening. He takes Mikariz out of the game with 3 fouls.
I think that's a good move. He's got Joanna Brown on the bench. He's still got a 6'3" girl in there. I think that's a very good move.
Brings Diffin and Mai back into the game. Demaray. Andrea Little. Oh, nice move. Didn't get the basket.
That's the shot she wanted. Had a break, again had a break.
1:20 left in the quarter.
Tell you, if I'm Kennebunk right now, I put Allison Booth right down on the baseline and just lob it in. There it is. That's why I'm doing color, right?
Mank in the weak side board. Johansson, a big steal. York desperately needs a basket shot. Martell, no.
There's the break. You sound like a broken record here, but...
In and out. Booth draws the foul.
Good foul, I think. I think she would have hit that shot.
Foul called on number 30, Kathleen Byrne, her first.
First on Byrne. That's 3 on the team. There are 5 team fouls against Kennebunk. Booth having a tough night at the line. She's 1 for 5. Weaver back in for York.
21 for York, Jonna Weaver. Replaces Samantha Demery.
Byrne the rebound for York. Close to backcourt.
Very close.
But close doesn't count. Byrne for 2.
Nice job. Big hoop there.
Steal by Weaver. Through Little's legs. Mai dribbling up court. Another steal. Little. York ball with 11 seconds left in the quarter. 30-23 Kennebunk.
Watching tennis there for a minute, back and forth. York needed that hoop by Burns.
Martell had no one to throw it to. Kennebunk with a chance.
2 seconds off her leg.
That's the end of the quarter. Kennebunk outscores York 12-5 in the third quarter and takes a 7-point lead after 3 on the Star Mountain Motors scoreboard. It's the Rams 30 and the Wildcats 23.
At Bonanza, we've turned over 50 million ribeyes, over 40 million T-bones, and over 20 million sirloins. But now we're turning 30. Celebrate Bonanza's 30th birthday with a sirloin filet dinner for just $5.99, including all the soups, salads, breads, and desserts you can eat. But you better hurry, because at $5.99, they're going fast. Bonanza, where turning 30 means a great deal for you.
Some people say our television commercials are a little dry, that we lack enthusiasm. Star Mountain Motors is smashing prices like never before. We're here to sell you a car or truck. At Star Mountain Motors, we'll do whatever it takes. Lowest prices, highest trade-ins. If you're in the market for a new car or truck, you have to visit Star Mountain Motors. Now that ought to get the message across.
There you see head coach Rick Clark in his 11th year at York. The Wildcats trying to remain undefeated. They're going to have a comeback here in the fourth quarter as they trail it 30-23 here on Game of the Week. Eric Nelson with John Patton. Kennebunk will have the ball to start the fourth.
Yeah, maybe Kennebunk's got a little advantage here too, Eric, having had a lead on York earlier in the season. Falling asleep, having York come back. I don't know if that's going to happen again.
York currently has a 24-game winning streak dating back to the 14th game of last year when they lost to Scarborough. Jump ball.
I'll tell you, that's persistence there.
It really is amazing what York has accomplished, John. They've only lost 1 game in 2 years.
Well, this, you know, Rick's got a program down here now that, you know, a lot of the other programs, that's how you measure your success, really, is by comparing it to this program. He's done a nice job down here, year in and year out. And, you know, we mentioned he's young.
Both these ball clubs, we mentioned Mickera is the only senior for Kennebunk on the floor.
Yeah, that's going to be a big loss for this club this year, but this Booth girl, very impressive. Not real aggressive. You know, she needs some work on her foul shooting and, you know, just her general shooting, but just the fact that she's got the physical ability and she's you know, she knows the game.
York being patient. Kennebunk seems to be communicating well on defense. There's a foul on Mickera. That's the big one.
Personal foul on number 24. This Mickera is her 4th.
Not a real smart foul either. If you remember her foul, was it right before halftime there? About 1 second left in the half.
Number 15, Shannon Mankin.
Mankin comes in. But you still have Brown on the bench. So even with Mickera coming off.
Right. You know, the thing is, Kennebunk had the advantage, and
yes.
now that negates it a little bit.
Martell. Long rebound. Comes to Booth. Underneath. Harvey.
I'll tell you, Kennebunk knows that break is there now because they look every time.
Lead is back to 9, 32-23. Knocked out by Mankin. 6:33 left in the ball game.
Yeah, Andrea Little's got to get into the offense here, Eric.
She has not scored in the second half, John. Until then. She's got 10 now. Now the pressure bothering Kennebunk a little bit. Coming close to 10, they lob it up for Booth. There's a break. Mankin getting a lot of layups here, John.
Yeah, I think York's got to make some adjustments there. Nice pass.
Byrne. Boy, Booth just
Rebound, Booth.
rips it down. 2 minutes played in the fourth quarter. 9-point Kennebunk lead. Booth. Yes.
That's where they've got to go with it. It's been there all night long.
Leads up to 11. And York calls time with 5:30 left in the basketball game. And our score 36-25. We will stay with the action here. And York is they're not playing well, John, and Kennebunk is starting to take advantage of it.
Kennebunk's starting to use their weapons, which they really didn't do. Well, I guess they used them in that first half, but Mikariz was missing, and they didn't really look for that break. I couldn't believe that first half, the number of breaks they could have had if they just looked up the court, a couple of quick passes, and they're starting to use that now, and I think probably that's why we see York taking the timeout. The last 2 hoops Kennebunk has scored have been off of rebounds and quick passes right up floor and layups. So York's got to, they can't trade baskets here. Not when you're down 11, 5 minutes left.
Well, I was going to ask you a question, but it's been answered, John. How long do you wait before you bring Joanna Brown in? Rick Clark has answered the question. He brings her in now.
I could move. There's a long time to go, but hey, you're down 11, and
if you wait 3 minutes and you're down by 17 or 18, it'll do you no good. So Joanna Brown with 4 fouls is back in the game with 5.5 minutes left.
This is the advantage that Hansen has on the other side, because he doesn't have to bring his key player off the bench. He's up 11. He can set her there and hopefully, and from his standpoint, maintain the lead.
And York admittedly has made some poor decisions, John. At times they look like they're rushing.
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen a strict zone played against York, and if I was a coach, that's what I'd do. I mean, force them outside, because their strength is with Brown and Little underneath, and you pack a good solid zone in there and force this team outside, and I think you're going to give them some problems, and that's what we've seen here tonight.
Fouls on Andrea Little, her first.
The other thing is York's pressure hasn't done a whole lot to Kennebunk tonight. A few turnovers, but
Mankin.
Whoa.
Oh, there's Booth.
Yeah, but that's not where she wants it. Kennebunk being real patient now. I mean, they can afford to be patient. Trying to bring them out.
Extending that defense. No backcourt. It was touched by York. Andrea Little steals it. Stripped from behind by Diffin.
Accident there, but that's her 3rd foul.
And that is 17 fouls. And York with a team foul advantage here, John.
That's one way to make it up right there.
Has a chance at the line to cut back into the lead.
Little is 2 for 2.
That's what I've got her for, 2 for 2.
Whew, then I must be right. Of course, we had to jinx her.
And York will get the ball back. The rebound couldn't be controlled by Kennebunk. 4:26 left, an 11-point Kennebunk lead. This is their biggest lead. Right back to Little.
Nice job. Believe that was the left hand, Eric.
Long lead pass. Mankin. Rebound comes to McDonald.
Hey, if you're Kennebunk, you want to use a little more of that clock than that.
A nice crossover as Little is fouled. I really think, John, Booth's only got 1 foul. If you get blocked a few times, I think you can take the ball to her.
That's right, yeah. Definitely a bit of intimidation factor out there tonight for York. Several layups that probably would have dropped against a lot of teams. You're just altering a little bit. I know this York team played in a Christmas tournament against a 6'8" girl from, man, that escapes me where she was
Nashua,
from.
New Hampshire.
Was it Nashua?
I believe so.
So they've seen height before.
And Kennebunk has called a timeout. We'll stay here with 4:06 remaining in the game. Andrew Little at the free throw line. And one thing that Harold Hansen mentioned to me before the game, he goes, if anything, we learned a lot from the first meeting. And he said it helped us in a couple of games after that. The Gorham game, they had to come back, a last-second shot by Booth. They beat Gorham by a point. He said being ahead so much in the York game helped them when they were behind, because they knew that anything could happen.
Right.
And you really can't give up at any point.
And the other side of the coin, too, is now they've got the lead, a similar situation to that first game. You didn't see a lot of celebrating over there on the sideline from these kids this time. York's not out of this game. We're looking at an 8-point ball here. 4 minutes, a long time. I think real key that Joanna Brown does not pick up that fifth.
Little has 16, and it's a 7-point Kennebunk lead.
And we might mention, too, the way that the Wildcats came back in that first game was that the press started paying off. It hadn't paid off during the whole game, similar to what we've seen here tonight, a turnover or two, but nothing major. And I guess that last 3 minutes, Kennebunk's guys just went to pieces, so we might look for that. And there it is.
Weaver.
Oh, too bad.
It will be York ball. She might have been shaken up.
Kennebunk, number 24, Liz Picker is back in the lineup.
He's a tough kid. She's going to stay in.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I bring Mickeriz off quite this early either.
Mickeriz and Brown both playing with 4 fouls. York can cut the lead to 5. Oh, Brown, nice save. Little, the head fake. But I got it blocked.
There's three Kennebunk players down under their basket. Nice pass.
Mickeriz
down there over the back that time. She's got to learn with 4 fouls. You don't even make that move.
McDonald. Oh, rebound comes out to Harvey. Three minutes left in the game. Still a 7-point lead. Mickeriz gets fouled. Yeah, York's had a couple of chances, John.
Yeah, they have. They've had their, not a lot of them, though.
Yes.
At the line to shoot 2, Liz Picker is for York, number 24, Samantha Demeray.
I thought it was real key when Weaver was going for the layup down there, and Louis just stripped her of the ball, because that would have been 2. And
would have cut it to 5, could have clamped on the pressure after the basket.
And my feeling is you don't put Mickeriz on the line.
She's 2 for 3 tonight.
I don't know what she shoots for the year, but she's got a pretty good looking foul shot.
Leads all scorers with 17, the lead back to 9.
Kennebunk keeping the pressure. I want York to take as much time as possible, bring the ball up.
Demeray kept it alive. Little's blocked. McDonald keeps it alive for York. McDonald.
There's the outlet.
The runner. Andrea Little steals the ball to McDonald.
Nice pass.
Layup is good.
Molly McDonald, a heck of a pass.
Back to 7, 2:10 left. Mickeriz with Luia. Mickeriz missed the layup. York can cut it to 5.
Deja vu, maybe.
Little looking for an outlet, gets it to Brown.
No. Oh, too bad. That would have been a big one. Did the right thing by taking it to the basket.
3-on-1. Oh, they throw it away.
Dude, a few more gray hair.
Boy,
Huck Hansen over there has aged a few years, I think.
Both coaches. Some stress tabs after this game.
Yeah, York's got to worry about the clock now.
Little. Oh. Fights to get it back. Brown.
Andrea Little over the back.
That's her second. But more importantly, that's the last foul that York has to waste before Kennebunk goes into the bonus. So they've got the bonus on the next York foul.
Yeah, they need a steal.
Yep.
Steal and a quick hoop.
1:31 left, John. 38-31 Kennebunk. Don't forget, Sports Stop Play of the Game coming up right after the contest. Foul on Martell.
That foul number 12, Jessica Martell, her second.
Well, at some point, the game may become a free throw shooting contest.
Yeah, I'm sure, you know, if you're Kennebunk, you don't want to keep that clock running, though. Although if you're on the line, I guess that's... You get fouled, you go to the line. This is where you got to convert.
Luia for 1-and-1. Long rebound to Little.
Got to get a quick one. Nice pass.
To McDonald. Yes.
Nice shot.
5-point lead, 1:10 left.
See if Kennebunk knocks the clock.
Martell commits the foul.
Good foul.
It's her third.
Get a miss here, another quick hoop, then it's a new game.
Chapman back in for York. Who's in for Desmarais.
I'm just guessing, but I know Tiffany Chapman can shoot the three.
Neither team has taken a three-point shot tonight.
Got to have a miss here.
Harvey. Booth the rebound. Big rebound and basket.
Big turnaround.
That may be the play that seals it for Kennebunk. Little to Brown. 47 seconds left. Oh, they almost had it again. Close to 10 seconds. Harvey, good play by Harvey.
Yeah,
35 seconds left. Vicarez. Boy, York ball. 32 seconds, down by 5.
Kennebunk with a timeout.
Still a ball game.
Hey, 32 seconds, 5 points, especially with that 3-point line. If I'm York, I say, you know, you go for the 2. Get the 2 as quick as you can. Maybe get a little lucky and pick up a foul. And put some real, you know, a lot of pressure on the inbounds.
Do you put the pressure on, then foul, or you just try to foul right away after the basket?
Well, it depends on how, you know, it depends on how quick we can score, you know. I wouldn't let a whole lot of time run off that clock, I'll tell you.
And you see the Kennebunk huddle. 15-1, an 11-game winning streak for Kennebunk. And a 24-game winning streak for York on the line.
Hey, either way, this one finishes up. I got to look forward. It'd be nice to have these 2 in the finals up there, wouldn't it?
32 seconds left. York will have to go the full length of the court. And they've used 8 seconds.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time here. I don't know what they were trying to set up there, Eric. I say you got to go right to the hoop with it on that one.
So Kennebunk trying to run out the clock. Little commits a foul with 17 seconds left.
That'll be a good foul there, Booth, tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 for 6.
Maybe her only weakness.
tell, if she develops any kind of a foul shot, it's going to be dynamite. So I got to believe she's going to get her share.
Little the rebound. Still some time left. Down to 12. Chapman rushed it. Loose ball to Brown. Little. 5 seconds left. Yay! And they call time with 2.
You got it.
1. I say they. Boy, John, I think a couple seconds.
I do too.
Rolled off
Looked like
the clock there.
3 seconds left.
I thought they should have had 3, and they're only going to get 1.
Timeout.
Boy, has that put a new complexion on this
Andrea
game.
Little with 13 in the 4th quarter. I know you're going to check that, Eric. That's unofficial.
Whew. Incredible. Just 1 second remaining. Kennebunk will inbound the ball.
Yeah, I see. I thought there were 3 on. And I saw the timeout.
I thought so too. That last second ticked off.
Get a 5-second call here. I'm surprised that Rick Clark was looking for the 3. I would have thought with 32 seconds left, try to get the quick 2. I think that gave them some problems because they had a hard time opening themselves up for the 3 and let 10 or 12 seconds rattle off there. I say, 32 seconds, go right to the hoop with it, maybe pick up a foul at the very least. Worry about the 3 later on. But hey, he probably knew Andrea Little was going to hit that 3, and he'd have an opportunity for the 2. Here we go.
A strong deny right now.
And to wave those hands. Oh, ooh.
And it's over.
I tell you, that could have been dangerous, too. Mikaris doesn't get a hand on that ball, and it goes out of bounds. It comes right back down under the baseline for York to take out. Who knows?
Kennebunk comes up with a big 40-38 win, breaking the unbeaten streak of the Wildcats.
Well, it's tough to lose, and you love to win them all, but I got to believe going into the tournament, that takes a little pressure off these Wildcats. I'm sure Rick Clark would have loved to win here tonight, but I think he might be a little stronger going north with that 1 in the loss column, maybe.
So now there's certainly a lot of doubt who is the better basketball team, and like Carol Hansen told me before the game, it'll be decided in Augusta.
That's right. Hey, this could be one heck of a final up there if they both can make it.
Okay, let's take a look at the scoring summary. Liz Mikaris led Kennebunk with 17. Allison Booth had 9. They were the top scorers for Kennebunk. For York, Andrea Little unofficially with 19. Molly McDonald with 8. Joanna Brown with 7. John and I will be back in just a moment with our Sports Stop Player of the Game. The final score on the Star Mountain Motors scoreboard at Kennebunk 40 and York 38.
If you live in York County and want local sports coverage, nobody does it better than the Journal-Tribune. We do more local sports than anyone, and we do it better. The Journal-Tribune is in your community every day with local sports stories. Stories about your family, your friends, your neighbors, and your favorite team. Local sports, nobody does it better than the Journal-Tribune.
Basketball, sports stuff, equipment that's designed for winning, racquetball, soccer, kicking, you can score all this and more. Sports Stop.
It's the season for sports, and Sports Stop is ready. We carry a large selection of sports equipment and accessories, so you don't have to go from store to store to find what you're looking for.
Here at Sports Stop, we're game for sports. Sports Stop.
Welcome back to the postgame show here at Butler Gym. The final score, once again, Kennebunk defeats York 40-38. Joining John and I for the postgame show, the head coach of the Rams, Harold Hansen, and our Sports Stop Player of the Game tonight, senior Liz Mikaris, who led the Rams with 17 points tonight. And Liz, after that disappointing loss to York earlier in the year, how does it feel to come back and beat them tonight?
Good.
What did you feel was the key point in this game? Was there anything that you did better in this game that than you did in the first meeting between?
Yeah, we didn't have as many turnovers, I don't think. We broke the press a lot better. Last time we were careless, just threw the ball away.
Was it something that you and Coach had consciously worked on, during the season and
Yeah.
in preparation for this game?
Yeah, we've been working on it, making sure we don't throw it away carelessly and give them the ball.
How big a win is this for you? I mean, obviously you're the top 2 teams in Western Maine Class B. I mean, does this make you the best team in your mind?
Well, no, because we have to play them again in the tournaments to see who the best team is, I think. And I think that by beating them tonight, we could have a chance to move up to number 1, which would be nice.
You've got still a tough game coming up against Marshwood. You've got one more. What do you expect out of that game?
Marshwood, if we played as a team and play the way we can, I think we can beat them.
Did you worry a little bit tonight, Liz, when you got into foul trouble? Does that change your game a lot? You pick up 4 fouls. There's still a lot of time left.
Yeah, I don't go to attack the ball as much as I normally would if I had 1 foul as if I had 4. So I can't. Too afraid to foul out.
We also noticed that even though you racked up a lot of points in the second half, kind of cold in the first quarter, was there anything that you did differently, or did the coach just tell you to keep attacking the basket?
No, yeah, he did, but also it's just luck, maybe. I don't know. I was just too nervous. I was really tense the first half, and I couldn't make a shot. Second half, I loosened up a little bit because I saw that we could play with them and became playing more my game.
Probably the snow outside made it a little bit cold, too, right? All right, Liz, congratulations. You win the plaque from Sports Stop in Sanford. You can get your name engraved for free, and congratulations once again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and we'll let Liz head off to the shower. She is our Sports Stop player of the game, and Coach, tell you, she's been a major factor for your ball club all year long, and she was another big factor tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Liz is our leader on the floor and off now, and she's taken that role very nicely. Not only scoring, but I think her defense was fantastic tonight. Really.
John?
Yeah, Coach, first of all, congratulations on a big win. We commented in the first quarter, actually into the second quarter, that you looked like you had a lot of breaks that you weren't taking advantage of. Is that an adjustment that you made maybe at halftime or so? Because down the stretch, that really is what broke their back.
What really happened is none of the other girls were shooting. They went looking for the shot, and I told them, hey, you've got to contribute too. And yeah, if the fast break is there, take it. Yeah, we've been working on that. We haven't really put that in until about a week and a half ago. Okay, and hopefully that it will even get better as we go along.
Yeah, you've got the nice rebounding, and
yeah, it's another weapon that we're working with. Yeah.
How about this win? We mentioned the possibility of going in number 1. Is that something that bothers you? Would you rather go in number 2? Or as a coach, how do you feel about that?
As a coach, I guess you feel comfortable number 2, but number 1 for the girls is very nice. Yeah.
Just going is the good thing, right?
Just going, that's right. Then you're going to have to face them and meet them sometime, so, doesn't matter if you're 1 or 2, really.
Well, we mentioned, I think it's going to be, hopefully, one heck of a final. I hope you both get there and you don't get upset on the way up, and it'd be one, especially where you split during the season.
It would be nice to have York and us in the finals. I really would look forward to that, because Rick he's done a nice job down here, and York's a good team.
You've done a pretty credible job up there, too. I think we were looking at when you took over, it was like 1-17 or something.
Yeah.
And I remember when I coached Wells, I'll tell you the truth, when I looked at Kennebunk, and that was a Class B team, I was looking at 2 W's every year, and then, then I got out at the right time because you took over. So.
Well, we were looking to turn the program around and make it respectable, and that's been our goal, and I think we've reached that goal.
I think so.
Yeah, now we're trying to take it another step.
Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Okay, both York and Kennebunk 17-1 as the Rams win here 40-38 for John Patton and Harold Hansen. I'm Eric Nelson. Have a nice night.